Welcome to the Port Podcast. I am Mike Lake, aka Hillsboro Slim.
Yo, it's your boy CP34, aka the British Montana. I said it wrong. AKA British Montana, aka the Big Dipper. I'm just flabbergasted.
Oh yeah, this dotdiamondkey from the Good Drugs podcast. You know, holding it down with the pour.
Appreciate you being here, bro.
Absolutely.
Joint pod in this piece, man. People ain't doing this.
Shout out A-Lee, Mafia Money, cameraman, Made in 93, and the engineer, DMS.
You got to get in that. We don't need no controversy. We don't want them thinking that we like taking.
Oh no, they
come on now.
They be moving around doing their homework.
Dot Diamond of the Port Podcast.
I don't own them at all, bro. They own entities for sure, bro.
Yeah, we gonna borrow you. You be the honorary third host.
Yes.
Bet.
Yes, sir. We would have to. I feel like this cannot really be called the Port Podcast. It's called crossfaded.
Oh, that's
crossfaded
hard.
would be what it is.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Liquor
like
ain't
that.
drugs.
Little liquor, little smoke.
We'll
Crossfade.
Do some graphics. The big event.
Crossfade.
Yeah,
I'm feeling that. So for the Good Drugs folks, thank y'all for being here. Port Podcast is a pod where we drink and talk with the homies. We pretty much just shoot the shit, roast each other, whatever.
Lots of roasting.
And we also do presents episodes where we focus on artists and creators such as the homie Dot and Ree when they in their music space. But we here to chill today, so
yeah.
Tell the Port folks what Good Drugs about.
Oh yeah, bro. The Good Drugs. I mean, niggas that watch the Good Drugs know about the Good Drugs. So the Good Drugs is like, I had like broke it down on my Twitter. I can't look at it right now.
You got to freestyle it.
It's like we like take like the real world situations, real world conversations, some current events, some past events. I mean, everything's current. You feel me? It's either everything's in the current or in the past. So that's a whole nother topic.
You just went super deep right there.
Yeah, but anyway, that's what we do, bro. We kind of like take your everyday topics, everyday discussions that come up in like literally everyday discussions, and kind of like break them down in a more informational way,
right?
But still in, I like to call it nigga terms.
Yeah.
So it's like How High and CNN like mixed together. Just throw them together.
Yeah, pretty much, bro. Like I mean, I always like to say that like the weed is necessary in the Good Drugs because we get kind of deep. It's like a nigga might cry or something or get mad for real when we talk about this shit. And it's kind of like, nah, just chill, bro. You know, we just having a good time, having a discussion, and that's really what it's about too, bro. Just having like an open discussion, not really like. I'm not trying to argue with people. I will argue, but I'm just saying I'm not trying to argue.
It's not. That's not the intent.
Yeah,
it's not a debate show.
See, that's beautiful because we're the opposite.
Oh no, we come
we're
here
good at first. We
for
get
the
drunk.
smoke,
right?
Yeah,
we start getting drunk and the shit get real devolved. Real quick.
I mean the shit. I mean a lot of like if you're not like informed on a lot of shit, then you might have like some pushback where it's like, no, that ain't it, bro, because
I gotta put you on.
Yeah,
well, you don't know about this, such and such. So like I guess we can dive into
let's get into it.
Shit. So like one of the things that a lot of things that we like. So what we have been discussing on the Good Drugs. My fault, y'all. Let me light the button. So what we have been discussing on the Good Drugs. He need the Good Drugs.
No, let me set you up. Let me set you up. Last time on the Good Drugs. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Oh my fault. Yeah. Oh yeah. Last time on the Good Drugs. The motherfucking we've been talking about kind of like how we got to this point in society of like where everybody would call like chaos and blah blah blah, whatever the case may be. And so I like to break down shit, read shit, and let me go ahead and I actually wrote down these authors because I don't have time to pull out passages and all this extra shit. So if niggas have any type of like debates or anything, authors you can go look at that all this information comes from is Thomas Sowell, Dane Calloway, William Loring Katz, George M. James, Dick Gregory, we all know him,
Yes,
and
sir.
Stephen Alexander. So, and there's also more, but I didn't have time to look through my whole collection, so whatever. So, we've been talking about a lot, like about just like religion. And first of all, how do y'all feel about religion? Let me ask that.
I'm in on religion.
Yeah,
I believe.
you went to church today, right?
I was in church literally today.
I did. I was not. No, I was absent from church.
Heathen.
Hey, I've done 18. Hey, listen, I did my time, 18 straight years, every day. Actually 4 times a week. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays.
I was there. I did it too.
Yes.
I'm back.
Sometimes Saturdays.
I'm actually
What, you
back.
Baptist?
I was Baptist, Pentecostal.
I was going to say Methodist.
Love Jesus.
Yeah.
I was Southern Baptist. Primitive Baptist. I'm talking about Southern
Primitive,
Baptist.
yeah.
Primitive Baptist.
That's the same thing.
It's Baptist with a little different communion
Yeah.
procedure, but
That's not good.
now I go non-denominational, but still Jesus.
Okay.
I said if you want to hit it, right?
You want to? You looking at it? I see you looking at it.
I'm reformed.
You about to bring the old CP back? College CP.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I don't know if this is a debate on religion or anything like that. But like he went to church today. I personally am not comfortable with the state of the church for me to be in it right now. I feel like my faith in God is very strong. My faith in man is incredibly shook, and since the churches are run by man, I have a little bit of an issue going into them right now just because, a lot of people supported things and under the banner of Christianity and I just feel some type of way about it. Right? So I still believe in God. JC is my friend. I pray regularly, especially over my badass children.
I feel like you're doing a lot of tap dancing. He said, "How you feel?"
That's because God is present.
How you feel about religion? You don't have any faith
religion
in
is
man.
dangerous.
I mean, it sounds like I guess you could say your faith is shook.
In
Shook
man,
ones.
not in God, though.
Shook
Yeah,
ones.
I mean,
yeah, my faith in God is strong. My faith in I guess religion is shook.
Yeah,
well,
that's what that's
right.
like the.
You're right.
Like I don't. Like I don't.
When the
I don't like attack like I don't attack what do they call the denominations. I don't attack like specifically like denominations or I do have like background like knowledge on those religions though, that how they came to be and all that shit right there. And so but I attack like the basis of religion, like because all religion is like has like the same base across the board, whether you're a Christian, Catholic, Muslim, whatever the fuck you are.
Monotheism?
Yeah, whatever. It all has like they all believe in a God.
Yeah,
a God.
Right.
Monotheistic.
God, so to say. So so you're saying so you do believe in God?
Oh, absolutely. And Jesus.
And Jesus.
I'm a Christian. Pentecostal,
I feel like you burying the lead. You didn't say how you felt about religion.
Oh, that's true.
Well, that's what I wanted to figure out how y'all.
You want to see where we stand?
Yeah, he said, "Shut up, Negro." Not stop.
I would say monotheism is where I was raised and what I believe, and I do believe in it. And I know there are polytheistic religions, and the one we come from as Africans, and that.
Oh, so you believe you're African?
In Africa?
African.
What do you mean?
You believe you're African?
Oh, so you trying to fuck my head up? So I'm not African now?
No, you definitely got.
Go ahead. My fault. Go ahead.
Nobody gonna argue you got African ancestry.
Go on.
I live in a space where God is God and Jesus is Jesus. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and that's where I'm at with it.
So hold on. If I said God is good, what would you say?
All the time.
And all the time?
God is good.
Okay. See, so I get where you come from, and I'm with you, and I feel with you. My relationship with God has gotten very personal because I feel like the church itself is heavily flawed.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to be, as a man living in this world, on this earth, acceptable of a lot of shit that the church allowed to happen, right? Yeah. So I ain't mad at the church. I ain't judging. I love my pastor. I'll call him out his name, Pastor Ballestero, the New Destiny Worship Center in Clearwater, Florida. I have no problem with it. I love my church. It's just people have a tendency to use our faith for some negative shit, and I don't agree with it. So I just choose to keep my relationship with God more personal.
I think that's the case with anything, but I'm gonna let Doc get to where he's going.
My fault, but I just had to.
Good ass topic, man.
I don't want to.
Came in here with the lazy
shit.
Yeah.
Hold on, demon don't walk in this bitch. So just like basis of like I say, I deal with, and also I don't deal with like how I feel. And how I think is based off of like the knowledge. It's not based off of my feelings. So like so religion, just the basis of religion. It started a long time ago before it was ever documented into like books and shit like that. And it was actually just a spiritual system. The same one that we have today, same connections that we have today with the earth, basically. Like that's why I actually do believe you're African, because that's kind of important. But the basis of religion is all like the etymology of all religions is based in a God, believing in a God that is the creator, basically. And all things happen under this God, this creator. I don't say the word God because it's, for me, after like so much information on shit, it's just like it can be misleading. Like it's very misleading. Like you have people who believe they are gods, and if you break it down into why they say that, it makes sense why they would say they're God. So I don't say I believe in God, because of course I believe in God. I believe in, if you want to say yourself, I believe in myself.
Yeah.
So I believe that I believe the universe. I would say the universe. There's a universal God, the spirit, and it's not. And I don't base it in like, because like religion teaches you like, almost gives God, doesn't almost, religion does give God human characteristics.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's called personification.
And that's more so, I think, not even I think, just what based off information I gave the authors and shit. So that's just based off of like us making that relation, because the people that wrote the shit, that's what I'm trying to get to. Is like the people that wrote down religion, and like you can believe whatever you want to believe. Like believing in God is a good thing. Like believing in yourself, because ultimately a lot of people that believe in God have that identification with God in themselves. So they see God in themselves. So that's a great thing. But as far as religion, the religion aspect, that's why you say like it's so perverted and fucked up. Like it's always been that way, because it's never been real power in it. Like religion, not saying God or spirituality, religion. There's never been power in religion. Religion's always been just like school, to indoctrinate you.
Absolutely. It's like rule of law.
Yeah. And if you look at like the definition of like indoctrination, it's literally like brainwashing you to think a certain way and believe in a certain system. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just talking from like factual fact. Like, this isn't how I feel, how I think. Like I don't talk from feelings and shit. So
but if you look, even in a literal sense, when they call the Bible the doctrine,
like
indoctrination is the point. And religion, and I'm not sure if you're saying this is or isn't, so I'm gonna just make the statement and you tell me. I believe in the Bible, the indoctrination is mostly positive, and I'm not gonna be ignorant and say all positive, but mostly positive. The idea is to be good to other people, is to
the overall message.
Yeah, not take stuff from others, don't kill people, the 10 Commandments.
What would Jesus do?
Yeah, well, and Jesus was not supposed to be. Jesus came here to be an intermediary on our behalf. That the indoctrination is a positive one, while still being an indoctrination. At least it's not on some like negative nonsense. I guess is that pretty much what you're saying? Like, I agree that I went to church today to be indoctrinated into what I believe to be positive.
Yeah,
is that weird?
No, not at all. With religion being based in like it's a man-made thing. Religion is a man-made thing. With that being that, there's men that written this shit for them to be praised forever, if I would say that. So like Jesus' story was told like thousands of years after he was born.
Yeah.
After he died, after everything went down. Everything went down. That's when they documented it. That's a lot of the Bible too. It was written way after certain things supposedly happened.
It was his homies that wrote it though.
That's what they said. Do you know that for a fact though? That's what I'm saying.
As far as what it says, that's what I know. I can only go on for what I read. I don't have anything to the contrary.
I'm saying you read that in the Bible. That's the Bible says that.
Yeah, well, the New Testament, where Jesus enters the Bible as the intermediary, is Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and those is the homies. We talking the disciples that wrote these.
So you believe that? All right. So what if I told you that during that time, the alphabet J didn't exist?
I understand that. I also understand that these dudes was Hebrew, and this thing was translated mad times before it even get
King James version. Yeah, King James.
Who was King James?
He was a king of England, I believe. Who took
the Roman Catholic Church.
So I agree with you here.
Yeah,
I can see how a message can be perverted and words can be changed, and it'd be like I'll tell you the story of the Pour Up. The Pour Up was a podcast that I made that I started with my homies to have conversations such as these, which I appreciate you bringing this here.
Yeah, definitely, bro.
Because we normally be on some
we
nonsense.
not this theological. We be on some fuck shit
on the pod, but we are in our regular everyday life. That's why we comfortable now. But I say, if I told you the story in 3 steps, the poor didn't exist, it existed, and then at some point it may end, and hopefully it don't. That if I let, say, my son tell that story, my son remembers it as whatever he thinks. It's like that game used to play in school, telephone, where somebody would whisper something. I could see how the whole shit the message could be fucked up.
Well, I mean,
essentially,
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were writing in Sanskrit, a dead language. And so you know what I'm saying? So, and then it translated to Arabic, then translated to English. It's this big thing that I think a lot of people are concerned that, hey, maybe we didn't get the message, because a lot of things have come out about the Bible that have said, homosexuality. The Bible says homosexuality, man shall not lay with man, but it's actually translated to man shall not lay with boy. That is concerning. I do get that.
I'm not gonna get hung up on the small translations though, because
that's important.
I'm gonna say
that's the point I'm making. You really should.
I'm down to learn it.
It's that technical when you're talking about.
What's the difference
when you're talking about we're talking about learning, like anything, like just like in school. Like if we skipped addition,
how would
we know multiplication? Would we know division? Would we like you feel me?
Math is very specific.
So with history, if you skip like the Bible can skip thousands of years. So if you skip 1,000 years,
what happened during that time? I'm a history nerd, and I know one of my favorite things to watch is the history stories that connect with the Bible, because I grew up with the Bible. I grew up in church. I love when we get into Egypt and the Israelites and that whole watching the literal History Channel bust this down and talk about how, like, what was the city with the walls where they marched around the walls until they fell, Jericho. That's an actual story, and that's actually something that happened in real history, that you have your religious version of it and then you have your historical version, and they kind of overlap, where maybe there's a little extra sauce on the religion one. But if the point was to hold
it's faith, like a Spielberg movie versus a Michael Bay movie.
Yes. Yeah. But if the point was to hold the faith, believe that a way will be made for you, and ultimately, if you stick to it, that you can achieve your goal. I learned the same lesson whether I got the actual History Channel one or not. So I guess what I'm saying, yeah, you're right. When you're learning me reteaching what I heard in a religious text or a historical one, I could get the message fucked up. And it could be, like you said, man should not lay with man should not lay with boy. Well, I wasn't going to do either way. Yeah. So for me, I'm cool on that. And if you say thou shalt not kill, it's like, well, I don't intend on killing anybody, but I'll do it in self-defense. But what about the plant in my house that I be forgetting water? I'm kind of killing that too. Yeah. I guess my point is the overarching big picture idea can still pass from message to message to message. Yeah. And I don't want to get hung up on but what if J didn't exist? How do I say Jewish, Judea?
Right. So,
and I mean, that makes sense for your, I guess for like your psyche aspect of like, I don't want to think too deep, because I've been into something for so long. I believe in something for so long that I don't want to think too deep into it, because then it's like,
now I got to question my faith.
Yeah, now I have to question everything, and everything's just what the fuck. Like, I mean, I went through that period, but
put me on.
I mean, I'm different, bro. I can't speak for everybody else, bro. I appreciate like telling me like the truth, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, I appreciate that shit. Like, especially like learning about like how fucked up history and how fucked up.
There's a lot of murder going on.
Once you learn about how fucked up like history was, it's almost the whole world almost changes for your vision of the world.
I think it's interesting, right? Because we grew up learning that George Washington chopped down a fucking cherry tree, and we know that shit ain't true. But he owned slaves. That would actually be kind of important information for them to tell. It's cool, right?
They don't tell us that black people own slaves either in school, and that's an issue.
There's a movie coming out with Viola Davis.
You see what I mean?
Well, they don't tell us a lot about slavery, because you know what?
And they about to tell us less.
I think Doc just got me, because I'm going to go against my own point. Because when they reteach in American history, they like to leave stuff out.
Yep.
And they like to sugarcoat it and say like, well, the slaves were here to work because they were indentured service. And we're like, no, that's brutal slavery. And if this gets translated,
service, but it was brutal.
Indentured servitude was not a black people thing because.
No, but what do you always say? Two things can be true.
Both are very true, but if the one we're learning is the wrong one,
definitely.
This is what me being a history nerd. I love this conversation because if you say like it wasn't Judah. Judah was the bad dude.
Judas.
If you say that, I believe it was David and his son. I'm blanking right now, but whatever. You say these moments in history when he fought the tiger in the den and all these cool things that happened. Daniel and David, both of them. That he was a king, and I'm sure other people in his kingdom had a different story than the one that the Bible tells. That ultimately we could end up putting somebody on a pedestal that may not be worthy of said pedestal. For example, if you name one white person that was a part of the civil rights movement, and then we put that person on a pedestal, you might believe, well, there were a bunch of white people that helped. There were some, but it wasn't a lot. And if the story gets told wrong long enough, eventually that becomes the story. So by the time you get to 2,000 years later, I mean, maybe we got a whole. What if Jesus was wild? What if Jesus was really like squaring up with dudes and throwing punches and not just on some be with peace, my brother?
Think about it this way. Imagine your girl writing imagine his girl writing his biography or me writing his biography. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be levels of.
I don't like either idea.
That's all I'm saying. Like, you know? I just like, if I advise anything or encourage anything to anybody, it's just to think. Mm-hmm. That's all. Because we're not taught to think. And we can go in that in education, I guess, next.
I wanted to comment real quick because we talked about indoctrination, and I like and as a Christian who believes in Jesus and God, practices Christianity, and is 100% has a personal relationship with God. It's interesting to me because you talked about the man shall not lay with man and the man shall not lay with boy, and at the end of the day, hey, I'm not doing either. But there are men who lay with men who are Christians. And unfortunately, that doctrinization of homosexuality is bad under the Christian faith has persecuted a lot of homosexual people.
But that's why I asked you about King James, the guy that wrote that Bible. Mm-hmm. Like, do you know his story?
I don't.
He was a homosexual.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't mean that sarcastically. It's genuinely.
No, that generally
it's genuinely interesting.
I'm just saying. I know. I'm just saying. Like if you look into like that, and that's what I also. If I encourage anything else, it's to look into the shit that anything you believe in or anything that you have faith in or whatever, like look into that shit.
That would make a fire ass t-shirt. King James was gay.
He was.
That would be kind of dope. Sell them at the Pride Parade. That'd be hard.
I mean, and I guess back to your the whole. I guess we can kind of conclude the whole thing with just so you say like. You believe you're African. You believe you're African.
No, I believe I'm American.
I'm African American, but I believe you have African descent.
You came from Africa.
Yes.
Your people. Everybody that you.
From what my DNA test says,
most of the percentage of him.
Shut up.
Most of it for him, but for me, I believe all 100% African descent. Yes.
All right. Well, one of these authors does extensive research, and I do extensive research too. And what if I told you that
Africa didn't exist?
No. Artifacts in America predate the ones in Africa.
So you're saying a lot of black people from America?
Artifacts in America predate artifacts from Africa?
Yeah. That like the hieroglyphs in America, found in America, predate the ones found in Africa.
And I didn't say this at the top of the pod. I do want to say this. If you are pulling punches, I don't think you are.
No, not at all.
Because I don't get offended. I want to chop it up.
I'm asking questions.
I know.
I'm asking like leading questions.
That had nothing to do with what you just said. I meant to say that earlier.
Yeah.
You won't offend me. Just say whatever. But to answer your question, the nerd in me is recalling that Mesopotamia was where the oldest bones of a certain whoever was found.
Yeah.
Right. You're saying there are hieroglyphs that predate that? Are we talking carbon dating?
I should say the first pyramids made were step pyramids.
Yeah,
and those step
South
pyramids, those step pyramids also are found in the Grand Canyon. As well as those other places.
What does that have to do with me being African?
Meaning that people were over here the whole time that looked like us.
But I think that's possible. But you think about
how do you know the race or the background of the pyramid builders? I guess of that particular area. I'm not saying black folks wasn't here and people with darker or tan skin weren't here. I believe we was everywhere. I believe we just this is a hella tangent, but I'm gonna keep it short. Due to the way science works, if life was going to be made somewhere, it's going to be near the equator, and if anything was made near the equator, it's going to be darker in color due to the sun, yada yada yada. And until we started migrating further north and south, then people got lighter. If that's what you're saying, then I agree.
You're answering the question. What is a black person?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, what is an African? Africa. I
believe all people are evolved from tan or darker skinned people. Yes.
Well, we think about the Pangea, which was when we were all one continent that got broken up. Yes, there's definitely plant life and vegetation on America's East Coast that you can also find on Africa's West Coast. That makes sense because they were all one continent at one point in time.
Is that your point?
Is it?
But no, I was just asking a question. I wasn't really trying to.
But can we also surmise that some of those people developed over here and also over here with similar traits?
So where'd all the black North Americans go? I know you're not giving an answer. If we're doing a thought experiment, let's do it. Where did they go if they were here?
But you got to do this.
I would say they never left.
Where did all the black?
They became the natives.
Go? Yeah.
Oh,
what's up?
I like this. No,
teacher.
Talking about the migration, how we originated from North America as far as us being here. So what he's saying is, and don't mind me, he's just talking about how we all. So there was a population of darker skinned people, right? So there's a lot of people who believe that they are of African descent, but you'd be surprised how many people are actually based from North America. Like your origins, because history has been rewritten.
I see.
Yeah.
And they talk about in the African American Museum in DC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People who believe themselves, because back in the day there was a time where you were either black or white, but you may have even been native, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of natives
been labeled black.
Right. So and they also talk about how when people started coming in as far as colonizers, there was a lot of people who went south into the islands. That's where we have Bahamian, Haitian,
St. Lucian, half of my son. Salute him.
We gotta record you saying that again so we can cut to you saying that and then come back to the show. I'll be dead serious.
Follow-up question. Is that why you have the Cherokee chain and the feather on your joint?
As well as the pyramid.
I do see the pyramid. I was gonna get to that, but is that
how you identify? I actually got the pyramid first when I did I was early on in my research and shit. So I got the pyramid and the Eye of Horus first. And then I a couple years later I stumbled upon more information, and that's how I ended up getting because my actual lineage, heritage, whatever the fuck you want to call it, bloodline has always been in America due to my own research.
Okay.
Like you would have to do your own ask your grandma.
That's why you just posed the question and you didn't say yes, Mike, you're wrong. I could be from Africa,
you could
and
be.
you could not.
Because I've always made the joke when he was talking about getting a DNA test, the DNA people writing the letter going, nigga, who you kidding?
Yeah, they're not accurate though. Don't do DNA tests.
My dad did it.
Not accurate.
I didn't do it. My dad did it. Wherever they traced it was West Africa, and our last name due to slavery is English. Lake is an English last name.
Yeah, see, and there's a lot of we can go. We can dive in that. We can dive in that.
Where we can go? Where go the next one?
I'm about to say we can just dive because you're talking about education now, bro, with last names and shit. So there's a lot of miscrewed information about just information history, misinformation, bro. It's crazy. Even last names and names and natives. I don't even calling them natives because I did my background indigenous. And I feel and that's actually
explaining
my people,
purposes.
I'll call them that. For people that don't really understand all the lingo and all that extra shit. So natives actually had names names already.
They still do,
and they had nicknames too. That's what I'm saying. So that shit already existed. It wasn't the story is we became slaves and we took on the slave owners' names and
I got you.
That's not
you.
You feel me? That's not accurate to a point to the point where that's everybody is just some people did take on slave owners.
You are
names,
correct if my statement was taken as a broad from specifically. So there's a couple things we do know, and I'll be curious where your research took you and how it got to the native basis of your black lineage. But we don't have a lot of documentation between being taken from Africa to being brought here
at all.
All of that's muddied. It's not, the paperwork wasn't right.
Even the slave ships.
Yeah, people was
shit.
making it, wasn't
We
making
ain't
it.
come
Whatever.
over on Ellis Island.
Yeah. No, they wasn't. It wasn't Carnival cruises where they know who was where.
No.
But also, England has been, for the most part, a continuous society since whenever they popped off. That they do have documentation of that, and if this last name existed over there and it exists here, I may not be 100%. I wouldn't bet the farm on it, but I could say without a reasonable doubt that at least in some form the word lake is an English word, or maybe they stole it from whoever they conquered.
Yeah.
That I'm comfortable saying that in this one instance, but there are other last names that may not be
that's not for
that
everybody.
easily traced back to, I said England, not some unknown country or something like that.
That's not everybody.
I feel you though. I like the way you think, actually.
Yeah.
I'm
saying I just encourage people to think. That's what I'm saying, just to think, bro. Like education system, bro. It teaches us that like our feelings are our thoughts when they're not. Like we can't even, like a lot of people, even like grown-ups now, we can't separate how we feel from how we think from reality of what actually is. Like, we can be feeling feeling something and it's not even real.
Yeah. Are you speaking more to like intuition?
He's talking about emotional intelligence.
Yeah, emotional intelligence.
Okay.
For the most part. Just like thinking.
I was thinking you were saying the opposite. Like what I think may not even be on point, but if I feel something, I should trust it. You're actually saying the opposite. You're saying you should have the intelligence to decide what that means.
And that's another thing, bro. Like intuition and feeling is different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's a different feeling.
It's a different path.
Yeah, it's a different.
I like how you try to use the word to define the word.
Yeah, it's not the same thing.
What I always say to Mike on the show, on the pour up all the time is that everybody's feelings are neither right nor wrong. Feelings are literally a synapses firing in your brain.
Yeah.
I feel this way.
Yeah, they change all the time. Yeah.
Feelings aren't necessarily right or wrong. It not even necessarily be true. It's just how I feel because whatever, my biology.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And a lot of times is that a lot of times people walk around with feelings and they allow them to become emotions.
Yeah.
And those emotions are volatile. And that's what leads to people thinking that this is this because of that. No, this is because you felt it.
Yeah.
That being that way. That's not necessarily right.
So
I can tell you your hair is black and I don't like it, but your feeling is that I'm wrong. Well, hey, that was my feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's neither right nor wrong, but it's a feeling that I threw out there in the world. Yeah. So the people get confusing when you say, hey, people confusing feelings and their thought patterns versus their feelings, that's 100. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, how you feel is your gut, the biology in you.
Yeah.
But there are things that are facts.
But that's not. And you brought this up. You're right. Yeah. I wanted to make sure I said that. That's not formal education, though. You don't get taught that there. You get taught that at home.
I mean, kind of like we're not being taught to think in school.
Oh no, that's further indoctrination.
Yeah, that's
the worst indoctrination.
So it's going off of it's playing on emotions and like, all right, let's take history for example.
Mm-hmm.
We're teaching young black kids they were slaves and showing them images of them being slaves. That brings out an emotion.
Yeah. And
they're learning this. So now they're feeling a way that so now they're living in a feeling now of
what they learned
learned at school. So even that is at the same way of teaching them how to feel versus teaching them how to think.
So if you were going to teach that lesson and how to think as it relates specifically to slavery to a young black kid, how would you parse that lesson out in a way that challenges them to add more to it other than the feeling they got from what they were told?
Realizing the reality of situations, I think is the way to. I mean, we look at it as like being harsh on kids and like taking away their imagination and shit like that. But a lot of shit you can like nip in the bud where it's like they'll be able to separate like, okay, well, this is history of happened to us, whatever they're talking about. This didn't happen to me. Like this, the teacher that's white that's teaching me this didn't do anything to make this happen in the book. They're just teaching this to me. So I can separate that. Damn, that was fucked up what happened to them.
But that ain't me.
And then go out and just live my life and just know that was history versus
I don't think
something happened in life and now I'm crack of this, crack of that, cracker. You have my people locked up and
So
shit like that.
You are equally challenging, and I feel you on that because I did learn these. I was a young black kid in school, as we all were,
and I think my fault, and I think that starts with like just the little stuff, the little things of and I don't want to kill too much shit, but like holidays and
I don't want to kill too much shit.
And
talk about Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny,
shit, all that shit that goes
Plymouth
along
Rock
with
and the fucking
fantasy, living in this world that almost like a
made up world,
fictional world, almost like a made up fictional.
We trying to get you
to
this
versus like no, this is actually what's going on right now in reality. Like you can do this right now in reality and in your life right now, like. And that's why I guess I can understand the argument of like the whole educational CRT argument of taking the history out and shit like that, because it matters, but it doesn't matter. And I hate to say that because I'm like a history junkie, but it matters, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because it happened.
Yeah,
I mean, what's happening?
Yeah, so it's just like.
But you also can't teach all of history, right? You can't teach everything that happened. You know, that's
my history lessons did expand beyond what I learned in school. In fact, might have preceded a lot of it.
I learned more on my own than I did in school.
So I learned a lot from my family. My grandfather was an educator for 50-something years. That these lessons were taught in the household, at church, and at school. And by the time I got to the school lessons of here's what slavery is, I was already having these conversations, or at least being told lecturally, like my dad lecturing me or my grandfather doing the same in those same conversations. Yeah. So when you say being taught to think, is it the school's job to teach us to think, or is it our family? Is it our structure around outside? We in school for 6 hours a day, but I got a lot of my lessons from mentors and other people.
I think that I think it is a school's job. Definitely. I'm not gonna lie.
Teach our kids right.
Yeah, I think it is a school's job. Just because like that's that trust that you're giving them, that they're teaching your kids the right stuff and all that good shit. Like personally, I don't believe in all that school and shit. Like I get kids, they're not going to that shit. But I think that is their job. That's also the parents. Yeah, it's also like the home job too, to teach that. Think.
You just said it. You get kids, they're not going to that shit.
Yeah,
that means you got to teach them, or your wife or whoever got to teach them.
Yeah.
Then it's on the educator. So you're basically saying, I'm gonna take them out the equation.
Yeah.
And we gonna get 100% of this home teaching.
Yeah.
But they still got to go out in the world. That's not to say I don't agree with you. I think even though my ass was sitting in school for 6 hours a day, a lot of my education came from grandpa and my mom and dad.
But there's a legitimate point to be made about that, right? So, typically when you talk about facts, science, math, those things are facts, right? You can't really put a spin on science and math. That shit, 1 + 1 does equal 1.
Not about to tell your author who is going to put a spin on.
Hey, give me a second before you go there.
You didn't see his face.
Give me 1 minute before you go there. But I will say,
you should have saw his face. He was like,
I would just simply say, though, like, to a certain extent, there is a response. Because I'm like you, Mike. I had a mom that, on top of sending me to school, literally bought me books on George Washington Carver. So I knew that he wasn't just about fucking making peanut bullshit like that. You know what I'm saying? So I had a mom that decided to fucking educate me on my history so that she didn't have to rely on these schools to do it. But here's the problem. We're exceptional, right? And unfortunately, our families, through a systematic, like literally a systematic approach in our country, have been brought down to the point where they just struggling. They're trying to survive. They don't have time to get little Johnny and Jane fucking books on George Washington Carver or the thousands of other African Americans that made a fucking huge deal in our country. Not just Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, the same shit you get every year on February for 28 days. So the problem is that a lot, you know what I'm saying? We're the exceptions, but the majority of our race is not getting that. So there has to be some kind of safeguard, right? So I think to his point, I'm fucking fidgeting right now, but to his point, like the
nigga hide
I shouldn't have fucking taken him off. Like where
you fucking with that?
How do you like we're gonna rely on the schools. It sucks, right? Because you do have a lot of our people who only have what they get from school to be their source of education, and unfortunately, but I will say this: everybody has the ability to think about shit on their own, like you said, think and research, because books are everywhere and they're free. Most books are fucking free. Library,
Google shit.
I wouldn't trust Google.
Well, I'm with you on that. But also,
if you know how to manipulate Google, you could trust it.
I mean, it's on the internet.
Well, I'm saying, if your search is properly formatted, you can get to the info you want to get to. I can find every author you named. And
if you have the right sources.
That's what I'm saying. Sources. It can't just solely be Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just type in like a one word and think you're gonna get everything.
Do y'all know that in my hood that I grew up in, they took the library out? The library in my hood, and where I'm from,
public library,
the public library, the North Greenwood community. Literally, there used to be a library, and it was literally right around the corner from my elementary school. It is gone now. It is a community garden, which
the three of you are from sketchy places. I'm from Tampa, regular Tampa, Florida. It's a lot of libraries.
The public library was removed. Big old
library downtown.
Now, some Negro did catch it on fire. Catch part of it on fire.
When I think of Gainesville, it's something.
Millhopper too. Yeah, they have a couple.
We do have a big one downtown, but the one in the primary black neighborhood in Clearwater, North Greenwood community, they removed the library.
Yeah.
So
but I was just gonna say to your science point that
dunk on them.
Here we go.
No, I think I'm finna actually add to it. I'm not gonna feel bad. But like even like science, like they teach us that shit, right? But it's just like there's so much more to science, especially as black people, like that we should know. That's all I'm gonna say.
I agree.
As niggas, we should know a lot about science.
Absolutely, we should be leading
biology, anatomy. We should know a lot about science. Yeah. Like that should be like our number one thing we getting into is science. Math too, but science.
In the fictional world of Wakanda, those are their two biggest pursuits.
Yeah,
and that is fiction. But the point being,
as far as we know.
What do you mean?
Because in the comics, Wakanda was hidden. How we know there ain't some advanced race of Wakandans in the real world just keeping it.
Yeah. No, we said the same thing. I was just basically saying their two main pursuits that put them on the leadership of the world were math and science. We do lead in STEM, and I think there's a lot of us making a way currently. I think we're just outnumbered in this country. I think that's a lot of our issue. If there was a black society, and I know Africa does exist, there was a black society within this US of A, like Atlanta, where we were pushing a lot of these ideas. It's similar to art and music and culture and a lot of the stuff that we lead on as it is, that if we led in STEM, that we could dominate the shit. Even though we're outnumbered, I'll leave it at that. No, go do your Googles. I don't know. Get your own education.
We are getting there though. It's important. That's why we put our children in that. It is important to put our children into, especially our female children, into STEM.
My spouse, my spouse is a Mexican in STEM. She's a colored person in STEM. So salute to her.
Well, I'm just saying, it is important that we get out there and we do what we need to do, and we have to encourage our children to be in certain things instead of telling them that they are not capable of this. I fortunately had a mother that said, "Where you are is not where you have to be," and I don't think I felt like I had an exceptional parent, and I feel like a lot of our people. Unfortunately, we suffer under our circumstances, our current circumstances.
We can't talk about as much as like you say we're different. Like I tell my other host Money and Ailey all the time. I don't try to speak too much from my standpoint because I know my situation was an exception to a lot of people's situation. Because all my friends for the most part situations were totally different from mine. I was the only one out of 7, 8 niggas. So it's that's a common thing though, where you have one person that has the mom and the dad.
Yeah,
everybody else is with grandma, with auntie, with whoever,
some other family
so
member, or maybe not.
So I can't really speak for me, but from what I've seen and what I grew up around, they would have definitely benefited off of a lot of programs and just shit that could have been implemented early on versus. Because everybody can't play sports, everybody's not athletic, everybody can't do that shit. So you almost have to. Especially in this day and time, we're as a parent, you're competing with fucking the internet, the school, the friends, the everything, right? You're literally in competition with other people, bro. So it's almost like I don't want to make you do it, but I know it's gonna be just better for you in the future. So I almost have to make you do this.
I worked in a post-secondary education school, vocational school, and a college combined, and it was amazing to me how many of our people didn't know that if your parents or you make under a certain amount of money, that you are eligible to either go to vocational school or college, almost at no cost to you.
Yeah, I want to be surprised,
and they just didn't know. They just didn't know. And you don't have to go to a predatory for-profit college. You can go to a university, a trade school, all these different things that you can get scholarships and grants for to do. They had no idea.
Yeah.
And then the ones that did said, "Oh, my parent doesn't want to fill this out for me."
Yeah.
That is the most baffling thing. And I know, and you mentioned before about not necessarily having to have the formal education. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. But you don't have to. I don't want to. I mean, I'm not against it all the way, but
what is it?
I encourage, like, if you're a parent that's that active parent like that, and you have the time, take that time to put into your child. And
playing the game of life, man. Everybody knows the games and the pieces and what you got to do to make it in this country. You just got to play it. A lot of times, people ain't even willing to even get their piece on the board.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
good drugs.
Bar.
Good
drugs.
Just the
good drugs.
Yeah. Well, grab your blunt, grab your bong, grab your wax, your edibles, your paper, your what have you saying? Your blowtorch for your wax, your all your good shit.
You ever did have an apple?
Roll it. Yeah, I be saying that sometimes. Actually, bro, apple can, all that shit. Ailey be like, cut that shit out because you be like, nah, cut it. But, you like good shit. Roll it, light it. Good drugs.
Yeah,
that's
good drugs.
Light up and the music be all.
Yeah.
Well,
you continue. I once met a girl. She grabbed a damn water jug, poured the water out, cut the top off of that joker, and made a water bomb.
Yeah. Was I there? I remember that happening.
I don't know if you were here. that happened again. Because that happened when I was living in Tallahassee. So if that happened again in Tampa, that's crazy.
Soho.
Yo, that's nuts.
It could have been one of your friends, though.
Was it the same girl?
I don't remember.
Oh my god, yo!
It was one of those stories that I don't remember the details.
Some things are best not remember.
Yeah, that's dope. I was actually gifted like a long time ago in my early smoking days. Like I was actually gifted like a water bomb at like a show or some shit. So
like one made out of the water jug or like an actual.
Like cut the top off. 2 liter.
That's some skills, right?
Yeah.
I saw somebody do it out of a wrench with aluminum foil.
Fuck with, bro.
Damn.
I was like, that's crazy. It's like it's crackhead shit.
Then like
it's like, but they were smoking weed. It was regular weed.
Yeah. Also, like the beer can.
Weed has to be ingenuitive as fuck, bro.
Because you can't. You can't just like smoke it out of your hand or something. That'd be fire though. Oh, stop it! No, you can't.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
No.
Yeah.
That's a real crackhead.
A real dope head.
Standing on top of the green tank doing that.
Y'all don't even know Rebaby's in the room.
Tight.
And my fault. Shout out Rebaby. She's in the room.
Rebaby's in the room. She basically says you can put a nug on your hand and like it's like that.
I've never done it,
but she telling it. I had a friend once.
What had happened was, yo, that's some desperate shit. I don't ever want to have to do that.
Well, my fault. But yeah, back into the shit we was talking about and shit. As you can see, like our shit gets deep, so it's cool to have like
I'm feeling the energy, man.
Conversation because it's like don't want niggas throwing bows and shit in here.
It would never get to that.
So we do be talking about more like the government. So like that's Ailey's thing. Like he really be killing the police and all that shit. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just the government being like almost essentially all one government now, where because this we've been leading up to these talks: one government, one education, one currency, blah blah blah. So just the fact that, and this also like dives into the one currency. So I guess it's just running into each other. So like so did you guys know that the first bank in America was the Bank of Italy?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
It's not Bank of America.
Exactly.
Yeah. I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
All right. So
I may or may not have worked there for 10 years.
You did actually.
Yeah.
I never worked there.
I'm not an Illuminati, I promise.
He just read it in the book.
I just read it.
Bank of Italy.
Yeah, but just with that being said, like it's always been like America is the business of the world. That's why United States of America, like Bank of America, like it's a corporation. So the power countries or companies, you can say, like funnel their money through America for the most part, where like trading and all this extra shit, like they say America, and that's why like it's important with education and learning about the beginning of the real beginning of America, where it's like, why would like how else would we be you think like people, not you or you, but people think like we've been over here since, what was it, 1776 when we made America, and we've been, or even 1492, you can say whatever you want to say, whatever people want to believe in, 1492, and they believe that we've been just growing crops for just that long, and somehow the whole America is just fully flourishing with all this extra shit just from that time period, versus it's always been that in America. So America was always kind of like the promised land to get to, because it ended up being what the world is today. Kind of America was kind of like the key piece to what we have today. So just with that being said, like we always had one government, but it's being more, I guess, shown now that like what happens in other countries affects over here so much. Like it's being shown more and more, whether it's a virus or money, like currency, and just off of currency, the digital way always was like the way to go for, because like trading money between countries and shit always been like digital for the most part. Like there's no bags of money being dropped between countries and shit. Like they're pressing numbers and Excel. Yeah, so
even back in there, like you said, this amount of gold is represented in whatever.
That's a good one, man. Yeah. The first form of trading was gold bars and shit. Yeah, that's a good one, man. But but yeah, the currency now is that now for like almost everything now. We're just finding out. Now they're just finding out different ways to make more digital money be worth different amounts in digital, kind of how they did with the paper monies. And as paper money in other countries are going down, dollar is not being worth as much anymore, or our dollar over there is not being worth as much anymore, and shit like that. So like the one currency thing, I believe, is already here. It's just not as allowed, if you will, yet, with like everybody's like, because I think if it was a forced thing, it wouldn't have happened. It had to be almost like this is a new way of
feel organic.
It's a new way of trading, or a new way of getting money, or a new way of making money.
It's coming though, right? Because like, so when you think about like Facebook dollar, you know what I'm saying?
That's why I said blockchain. Blockchain. Anything in that blockchain format,
right?
You could trade services for digital currency.
Yeah. But take it as far as the Facebook money, right? There's it's anybody can put into it. Like it's literally like a money that can be taken anywhere by any country, anything like that. That's why it's so controversial, and it's something that pops on in my 9-to-5 job every damn day that we have to be cautious of, because it's, you know, it's crazy to think about that. Like literally, like Facebook is making this idea where it don't matter where you are, I can send you the same amount of money, but you know.
I think it is what Dot just said though, because it had to be an idea that felt like we steered into it, as opposed to any entity going, "Hey, by the way, there's $1." Everybody be like, "What? No, hell no." Exactly. But if it feels like an idea, now I could tell you, let's say you needed some work done around the house. You say, "Hey, Mike, I'll pay you whatever representative money you want to do the job." And I say, "Oh, well, I want my money to be paid in studio time." Now we've exchanged a good for a service that isn't an actual physical dollar, but it can be represented in a blockchain format.
That's all they did.
Yeah. It's dope. It's dope, and it's not, because it also could be used for hella.
And it is. And it does. Right.
Yeah. Terrorism and shit.
Like, terrorism. Yes, absolutely.
Being able to do it like that, unregulated, is
virtual currencies are hella fucking like a big, like, to do.
Untraceable, like, so then you don't have any security.
Right.
But I'm gonna play Dot here for a second and say, well, how you know you can trust the security you do have?
Well,
that is true. You do have to think about that though. Like,
it's
how do
true.
You know that the people that, because most likely the people that are securing it are the people that set it up, or the people that are owning it, or you feel me? Like just like anybody, like
they're gonna put themselves in a position.
If I own a club, I hire security. Like I'm gonna know who's working security for me. So it's not like, you feel me? Like it's kind of the same concept, but I don't know.
That's when you get into systemic issues. But I think Are you saying that $1 is the way that we should be going?
I don't think it's a good idea to eliminate paper money. Just based, I mean, I'm speaking from personal. I don't trust.
What would you prefer, 50-50?
I don't trust the government. I mean,
paper money is still the government.
In the sense of they can now because they know everything now. When it's on the computer, they can see everything now. They can track everything now. They can keep tabs on it. They can do whatever the fuck they want to do with it. Yeah. Now. Versus it's in my house, you feel me, in my closet or some shit. It's different.
House catch on fire. That shit gone though.
Magically catch on fire. Government done burned your shit down. Your $1 million is gone. But also digitally, your computer shut down and you done lost all your money too.
Well, not even. Yeah.
You can't log in and now you can't get to your money.
Right. Or a terrorist
would
attack.
Y'all rather be 50-50 or one way or the other? That's what I'm saying.
Well, I would like. Here's the deal, because you're right.
I have a shorter answer.
Go ahead.
I kind of want it to be 100% of both. I want the option to have dollars and digital currency. I'm with that.
I think. All right. So when you think about it and you have a cerebral thought about currency and money in this country, do I want to carry physical money? I hate the idea of carrying.
Probably don't have.
I hate that shit. I probably have none on me now. My
My
daughter asked me for a quarter the other day, and I was like, I don't have a quarter, baby. Sorry. I just don't. And I love that everything takes the card. But you at the end of the day, say when there's a terrorist attack where they're able to manipulate or fuck up,
EMP.
The servers and shit like that. That like, well, now your bank account that had X amount of dollars in it, say you got X amount of cents in it. You know what I'm saying? Or that is the easiest way to, think about financial terrorism.
Reed has an excellent point.
Your
dollars won't matter then either.
That's true. That's true. Walking Dead, they don't care about money. Right. A doomsday prepper, a prepper.
I don't foresee any doomsday, honestly. Like, I think doomsday is like,
I could see one.
Just like everything else is kind of like masked. It's like masked almost, where it's like they put out a new world order and it got leaked or whatever. I mean, I got into shit in like 2016 to where we're gonna be in like 2030 or some shit with the depopulation and all this extra shit. Mm-hmm. So they put that shit out and it's like, all right. It sounds very brutal. Like this shit's finna just be. What was the movie? Apocalypse.
In the day,
like this shit's just finna be like crazy. Like, just people like lock your doors, arm up, body armor up, like everything gonna be store shut down. Like that's how they like want to paint the picture. But in reality, it's like. It's happening in front of our eyes without any of that going on.
Yeah.
Like there's been lockdowns. There's been sickness happen where that changed the economy already, where you have certain people that were working at a certain job who lost that job during that time, who had to get another job at a different place now because that job is no longer a job anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that is the same thing as kind of like chaos. Like people lost their job. Like people were really like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, I need this money. I need this. Like, you still have people now get on payment plans to pay rent and shit. So it's like, that is the
current state of affairs.
Yeah, the current state of that, with the depiction of the movies and shit right there already.
It is the history repeating itself, though, right? Like we've been here before. I think people don't realize that. People don't know their history. We've been here before. We've
everything that happens,
sickness, recession, depression, and usually what usually happens is after we come out of it, now there's some type of innovation that's now changed things for quote unquote the better, supposedly.
The people that I'll just say control, because I don't know who watches y'all pod and shit. The people that control the clock, I'll just say that. The people that control the clock believe that from chaos comes order. So that has a lot of explanation of why what you're saying right now, why actually every time like a horrific event happens or some shit goes on, there's a new way of life, new order, new law, new whatever the fuck pops off. So whether, I'm not saying they creating this shit or anything like that, I'm just saying
they're aware of it.
They're aware of that.
Yeah.
Very aware of it.
I got nothing to add to that. I think y'all both were pretty succinct on all the points. I don't know ultimately whatever the currency is, if it becomes my skills, then I offer those. And while it's the money, I try to offer that what little bit of it I have. I'm not against us going away from certain systems. Maybe like the credit system could be done away with.
Of course.
Or others that currently keep us in our current positions. But I do like a little bit of infrastructure. I want to be able to rely on something.
I don't want anarchy. Like,
Wild West.
I can't do that. Like, no. Like, that's why I don't agree with like defunding the police and shit like that. Like, have a better screening of the police and better training of the police if that helps or whatever. But I mean, they're humans at the end of the day. And that's what we talked about on the pod before. We were just saying like the school shootings instead of having like more security in school. And then one of them posed was like, well, what about the incident where there's a fight at school and the cop uses excessive force,
end up killing a kid.
Ends up hurting the kid, killing the kid, some shit like that. And my explanation was, or my answer was that without like, you can't have one without the other. Always, it's a trade-off. Like, we live in a trade-off society, so it's like if you want better security in schools, we might get a kid that gets shot by the police.
Yes,
we might get a kid that gets slammed on the table too hard and his back's fractured.
Not just might.
We will.
SROs have been documented.
Like,
school resource officers.
It's gonna happen. But at the same time, we won't have a kid have a crazy week and come into school
kill 50 people
and kill the whole school.
Yeah.
Like,
but
that won't happen.
But it's also like you said though, like better screening. We don't necessarily need little Billy, who clearly had emotional problems in high school and used to bully people. Who don't happen to have a record, but also, hey, now I want to go and take my aggression out on the people of this neighborhood I patrol.
Yeah. I just believe that like the one thing we can control in that situation is securing the schools, as far as the school shootings and shit. Like, as far as like humans being humans are gonna human. Like,
facts.
But securing
we like to fuck shit up, unfortunately.
Yeah, like that's what happens in our society. Like, it's like you say, if you follow and like to your point of what's happening next, what's gonna happen next and shit like that. Like, if you just follow history, you kind of figure out what's gonna happen next, because it kind of keeps going in the same cycle. Every age, every period, every new world, every whatever the fuck, same shit just keeps happening. So,
well, if trends keep tracking, we should be getting cross colors soon, because we in the 80s right now. There should be some big bright color fashion coming back. And to your same point, I think after we pass the illness issue, we might get another war.
I just want flying cars. We've been, you know what I'm saying?
No, that never happened.
I'm just saying, I just want flying cars, man. We got hovercrafts, like you said. Yeah,
we got Elon Musk.
I mean, I want my damn Back to the Future, like flying. I want my Back to the Future flying car, and I want it in my time frame.
No,
my timeline, my lifetime. Excuse me.
No, you can't.
I don't think we're gonna see a lot of shit that
solve a different problem
that the future was saying was gonna be in our time. That's
right.
Not gonna be.
What did they say? I don't remember the comedian that said, we're supposed to be the Jetsons, and we ain't even the fucking Jeffersons. you know. STEM, yes.
STEM. With more blacks in STEM, we might have some flying cars.
Hey, listen, a sister got them off the fucking ground and into space.
I mean, if it don't fuck up the environment, I'm all for it. But we do a lot of, like, humans have a tendency to create some shit that's bad for the environment in the long run. Jump
into some shit early and do it the wrong way.
Yeah. I don't know, man. But we got motherfuckers in space, and then we got memory foam mattresses.
I see all your advancements surround your comfort.
Oh, absolutely.
What about the world? What if you sleeping on a wooden bed meant world peace? Would you do
What am I, Jesus in Nazareth? I don't need to be sleeping on no straw bed with no damn
if I told you sleeping on a wood bed meant world peace, would you sleep on that wood bed? You don't want to do it. That's crazy. This is crazy. This is why we can't. This is why we can't. Yeah. This is why we can't.
Not just peace in the Middle East, like the whole world.
The representation of the world.
And I gotta sleep on like a pine bed.
There's a million U's, and that's why we don't have nothing.
Like the saying, can't we all just get along?
I don't know.
Sleep on the wood bed so we can have peace.
I don't know if I can sleep on wood bed. Y'all got to figure y'all shit out. I got sciatica.
What, sleep on a wooden bench?
Yeah.
I mean, I would, but it's not gonna be enough people. So
just hypothetically,
we're gonna be on a wooden bench for a moment. Just like with the boycotts and all that shit, wasn't enough people, so we had to keep doing this shit. Like, it's gonna be a moment. And with that shit you talking about, it's gonna be like years probably.
I would take the L if that's what it meant. if we had to, and this is stupid hyperbole question, but if something I had to do to make myself a little more uncomfortable, let's say stop using air conditioning, but that would mean power for
give up your CPAP.
I would do it. It don't bother me. It bother my girl. I
have everybody start their own garden,
and we have more oxygen and food. I'm with it.
Think about how much less money we would spend on transportation and grocery stores. I'm not saying it completely cut out like farmers and stuff, but I'm saying as far as like food shortages go and stuff like that, America is clearly not an indication of global scale. Right?
Yeah.
But let's say in a sense, instead of the global trading, they were able to tap into the resources they have, and we were able to actually give because we have surplus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rebaby was asking about us starting our own gardens. I'm all for community gardens.
No, your own.
Because we had at one point a little bit of a garden going on our back. We had one bell pepper, one tomato, and some sorry ass black raspberries or something. And I'm sorry, y'all. That ain't enough to sustain us for a week.
Your garden got to be better.
Local eating. Let's support our farmers that are actually doing this shit.
They know what they're doing.
That know what they fucking doing. Let's support
and that's
them.
the thing. There is little spots in every city, every town that's doing these things we're talking about, but it's just not on a massive scale.
It goes back to your other point. In order for this to turn into a new way of thinking, it has to feel organic.
Yeah.
It can't be a government order. It can't be any news source or the poor up or good drug saying, hey, y'all need to do this. It has to feel like, I think I want to do this, and a bunch of eyes have to do that. And eventually,
but see, and we also live in a society that gives us options with limited choices.
It's the illusion of choice.
Yeah, it really is. So like what you're saying is like we do like that is a choice though, but and we also have like we also have like a collective conscious, a collective mindset as a whole. That's why they talk about the masses, or because like the masses think a certain way, and that's why certain shit is a certain way. Like we all don't think the same thing. Like I think weed should be legal everywhere. There's a lot of people that think that, but the masses, for whatever reason,
ain't quite there yet.
I don't think.
Even though the masses probably are there, that weed should probably be legal.
I don't know.
Well, think about the timing of what he's saying. We're talking the last 20, 30 years of that being a slow process where a state here, a majority here, a majority there, but it's not fast.
I think it's generally the 1% that controls the most of power, at least in this country, and the 1% is not the masses.
It's actually 13%.
I'll take 13. I'll say this
because you need 13%. Like you need 13% of
to start
whatever to start a
trend,
start a trend, a political party, whatever the fuck. Like
I learned that in
you need that 13% to. That's all you really need. Like because and I think about it, 13% can and will like affect fucking
a lot,
50-80% of people. Like especially when those 13% consist of prominent people, athletes, billionaires, shit like that.
Hey, black people, what he's saying is that black people are 13% of this country.
If we were a monolith, we could do that, but we're not. I learned that in Malcolm Gladwell's book, The Tipping Point, and it is approximately 11 to 13% to start a pandemic or whatever.
Yeah.
If you want something to go from small grassroots, even something we're marketing like our respective podcasts, if we can get a good number, a 13% of whatever market,
shit blows up.
It trends. It becomes viral. So salute.
I'll leave you or them with this because you mentioned before about the delusion of choice.
Yeah.
5 top conglomerates literally control everything else, and it's the craziest thing. You know about that, right? Like literally 5 large companies control all of the actual commercials,
everything,
of the products,
media, clothing, fashion, everything.
Yeah, that is crazy. That is nuts. Y'all look into that. Hey, I ain't gonna tell you more about it. Just research it. I ain't gonna say nothing else. Just research it.
Dot, anything you want the folks to know before we get out of here?
I don't know when this shit coming out, but we perform Loud on 7th because I forget that.
Yeah,
shit. Perform Loud on 7th here in Tampa. What is it? September 8th through the 11th. I believe
we would definitely have a lot more information on Loud because we will also be out there working
as we get closer to September
in our media space.
You got anything coming out? Because I don't think I have anything coming out. We got a single coming out. It's about Gorilla Mafia family.
Yeah, it's GML.
Yeah.
Where we find you at, Ree?
Go check out Mafia Money. All his shit is on all streaming. He got a video up. He has 2 videos. He has 2 videos up. Swift Dollars. He got a lot of shit. Go research him. Swift Dollars. And me, I got Bloodline coming soon at some point. Very soon. I got a film and a project together. So I'm release the film first. On my Instagram, I got a preview trailer. I don't know what they call that shit. Trailer. And that was shot by the actual nigga who shoots our pod, Made in 93. So shout out Made in 93 again. And
where they find your pod?
Subscribe on YouTube. Good Drugs, The Good Drugs. It's spelled exactly how it sounds.
Good Drugs.
Shout out to Ailey. He don't have a Instagram or none of that shit. But follow Mafia Money at Mob Life Money, I believe. Follow me at dotdiamondkey. Follow Rebaby at I don't know what her shit is. Who is Rebaby?
Yeah. Who is Rebaby?
with 2 Y's. Follow Swift Dollars at Swift Dollars 158. He got a lot of pages. Follow Gorilla Mafia Family. They're gonna pop that shit up on the screen.
All of this will be
so they can spell the shit.
The more you say, though, you get more work. Though,
you know. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to play. I got a lot of shit going on, bro. My fault, bro. What else? We got anything else going on? That's it.
Whatever else we could get them, we can get the information to them.
Yeah, that's really it, bro. I appreciate y'all.
I appreciate you coming through with the deep shit, bro. Absolutely. This is a great conversation. I got some reading to do because we're gonna do this again.
Yeah, bro. Them authors, bro. I'm gonna say them again.
I'm coming back with more information.
That shit. Anybody want to watch this shit?
Yeah, put them on.
Thomas Sowell, Dane Calloway, William Loren Katz, George M. James, Dick Gregory. We all know him. And Stephen Alexander. Jazz of Physics is like a crazy book. That's actually Stephen Alexander. He wrote that book, but crazy book.
Jazz of Physics?
Jazz of Physics, yeah. Man.
I'll check it out.
Y'all know, y'all definitely subscribe to Shit Division Media to find the Pora podcast and all the other shit that we do at Shit Division Media, including this podcast.
Absolutely.
Rebaby's in the room. We actually have an interview with her that you can find on our page on YouTube.
Yo, I can't wait to do more work with y'all. Yeah. I've had a great time. I promise you, I really want to do another part. I want to do a part 2, but we're gonna do it in Gainesville.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely, bro. Definitely, bro. Money and Ailey definitely going.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Enjoy that shit.
We're gonna chop it up. Yeah. In the meantime, that's Dot. I am Mike Lake. Excuse me, Dot Diamond Key. I am Mike Lake.
It's whatever, bro.
I like the Dot though. I am Mike Lake, aka Hillsborough Son, aka Salt and Pepper Beard.
And yo, it's your boy CP34, aka British Montana, aka The Big Dipper. Find us live every Thursday at 8:30, 8 or 8:30, depends on if we being late or not.
Because we be on CP time.
We be on CP time everywhere. Y'all know us. We're the Pour Up. We're not just a podcast. We're Tampa Bay's best pregame party. Y'all have a great day.